is an internationally acclaimed energy healer and life coach. She made international news in 2004 by giving birth to twins at 57. So don't do the math. Okay. Today she's going to accelerate your ability to shift feelings of uncertainty to resilience, possibility, and believing. Something she knows a lot about. And Aleta has so much to say that we're giving her 1 hour to share her knowledge. And love you. How are you, my darling?
I'm great. So glad to be here with you, Mark. It's like old times, only in a different dimension.
It's a new reality.
It's a new reality. Here we are.
Okay.
Take it away.
Do it.
Hi, everyone. I'm really, really happy to be here. And I want to share with you the things that I know so well in terms of living in uncertainty and moving into that sense of believing and resilience and unlimited possibility. So right now, I'm not seeing the, I'm not on the main screen. I'm just seeing Mark. Is there any way to change that? That's only because I'm seeing Mark as I'm talking.
Yeah.
There. Yeah, just see if you can get me in the middle there. That's great. I was in the middle at one point. All right. So the thing that I want you to do right now, while we're waiting for the technology to work, is I want you to take a deep breath in, and this time it's in through your nose.
What happened?
And out through your mouth. And in through your nose and out through your mouth. And then I want you to feel like the breath is like the waves of the ocean, moving in and out and in and out, moving in and out and in and out. And then in my healing work, I use light, because frequencies of light will put you into that quantum field, the field where you create miracles in your life. And the only way we can change consciousness is if we move into that field. So as we're breathing, I want you to imagine that there's a gold light. Gold is a wonderful transformational tool. And it's 6 inches above your head. And just imagine that the rays of that gold orb of light is coming in through the top of your head and going through your whole body. So breathing in and out and in and out. And then feel like every cell of your body is vibrating that gold energy. And this is about an experiential hour. This is about telling the truth in terms of what you feel. I know in the spiritual principles, we're supposed to transform fear into courage and etc. But right now, I want you to get in touch with your uncertainty. Because uncertainty is a really difficult place for humans to live. We don't like to be there. It's called the gap. It's called living in transition. It's when we don't know the plan. We just know that we were going on one path and all of a sudden that shifted. So I want you to breathe and let that gold light go right into your heart center. And breathing in and out and in and out. And breathing in and out. And then ask yourself, what do I feel uncertain about? Is it my finances? Is it my relationship? Is it my entire career? Am I uncertain about how my children are going to go to school? Are they going to graduate? Am I uncertain about what's going to happen to the planet? My rent? Will I have enough food to eat? Whatever that uncertainty is in your heart center, I want you to breathe in there. Breathe right into it. Breathing and exhale. And just listen to the voice. Now, in the emotional body, that's where fear has its greatest stronghold. It can also vibrate into your physical. And of course, then it changes your mental perceptions of things. But the most important thing is that we clear it from your emotional body. So I want you to breathe into the heart center. Get in touch with what that uncertainty is. Hold it for the count of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then release it into the universe. I want you to go back in. This is about clearing that fear of uncertainty, because unless we clear it, we can't really talk about resilience and possibility and believing, because you're vibrating at a lower frequency. We have to shift you up. So connect in again. Finances, that's a big one right now. Hold that for the count of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then exhale, let it go. Move back into the heart center and see if there's anything around career. Where am I going with my career? One minute I had a career, now I don't have a career. I don't know where I'm going. A lot of people are feeling that right now. Hold it again for the count of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then release. And you notice how everybody's kind of like calming down, and that vibration of fear is not of uncertainty in your face anymore? Because you're getting to that clear. And then we can shift you up with the idea of the most important thing in terms of changing consciousness is that we don't vibrate into the lower levels of fear, but we vibrate up. Now what I want you to do is I want you to think about how many times in your life have you not known what was going to go on. You thought, okay, I'm going to go to school, I'm going to get a good education, I'm going to go to college, I'm going to get my master's, and then all of a sudden you realize, especially now, for many of the millennials, they do not have jobs. So they can have degrees, but it's hard for them to get jobs. All right, so many of them are living at home. And so parents that thought, well, 18, I know I left home at 17, okay? Don't age me there. But anyway, we were looking to, whoa, how can I go to Europe and expand my life? Not now. People are in the home. Kids are in the home. I have some clients that have children that are 30 and they're still in the home. And they're just getting a job and they're just starting their life. It's a whole different paradigm that's starting to take place here. So you have to be ready to say, all right, I came from this and now I'm in a whole different reality. And how am I going to shift in that? Well, how you're going to shift is you don't stay stuck. You use spiritual principles of no matter where I'm at, I am going to be on my high flying beam and I am going to vibrate up into possibility and creating my future. So for instance, if right this minute you had the loan thing going and you were one of the first ones at Chase Bank and you put your application in and you were there for 5 hours making sure it went into the computer. How many of you have been through that? Like loads. You were absolutely certain that you were going to get the first money that came in for your loan, correct? And how many people didn't? Loads. Now there's 350,000 applications on the second round. Uncertainty. We don't know what's going to happen. But the thing that we do have control over is our thought process and our mood and what we're going to start to believe. So we could go down the rabbit hole and start saying, oh my God, see, I knew it. The rich people are getting the money. Blah, 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 blah. How am I going to make this happen? There's going to be no money left for me. You can do that. And you take all that equity of thought creates things, and thought is energy, and you put it in the basement where it can't help you. So you want to feel the feeling, because I don't believe in pretending the feeling isn't there, or sitting with the feeling and then, wiping the feeling out. I believe, because I've done a lot of emotional release work, primal work, rebirthing in the water. I mean, that's the whole genre that we came from, that it was about releasing energy and emotions through the body and the emotional body. I believe in feeling it. That's why I started the meditation with that. Like, you feel the feeling, you hold it for the count of 5, surround it with the breath, and then you release it. Because you have feelings, you're not your feelings. So then ask yourself, I can say that it's all negative, I never get a break, I'm a victim once again, nobody ever comes and helps me, right? And then you can build that bank account up. Where do you think that's going? Zippo, right? Or you can say, you know what? That's true. That's what I'm feeling right now. Let me release it. I'll do the life shifting technique. Surround it with the gold light, hold it for the count of 5 and release it. And let me move into resilience and possibility thinking. All right, what would it be like if I imagined that the money was coming in and that there were miracles that were happening and that my application seemed to be fine and that I received the loan that I'm supposed to receive? Okay, so let me imagine what that would feel like. So we drop into what that would feel like. And imagination is the key to creation. Now, I know this because I came from a show business background. I went to English drama school in England, and then I got the lead in the Amsterdam production of Hair. And so I know about that whole energy, you see, of really believing so strongly that this is going to happen. I mean, I came from America. They would take, at the time, 2 American actresses, and there were 500 that auditioned. And I just knew that I wanted to go to English drama school. And finally, at the end of the summer, I got in to the East 15 Acting School, Maggie Berry. And that led me to the Amsterdam production of Hair. And then that led me to an amazing time in Europe. And then that led me home. But the fact of the matter is, the uncertainty didn't stop me because I believed there was possibility there. So often, if you go back into your life and the things that you were experiencing, especially in my clients when we go through the energy release work, because I'm born psychic and I can see, like, okay, what happened to you at the age of 6 to, let's say, 8? Or I'm getting 12 and they'll say, oh God, yeah, we changed schools. And all of a sudden I went from being the superstar to not knowing anybody. So then what happens is you log in your mind, change and uncertainty means disaster. Same thing, there are people that are getting married and they're walking down the aisle and they're saying to themselves, you know what? I don't know if this is going to work. And sure enough, okay, it doesn't. So to them, when you're uncertain about something, it means don't do it. And so you never take the risks. You never have the courage. You never think, all right, this is a possibility and something great is going to come out of this. Now, in this pandemic, when I'm working with my clients, it's amazing the things that are happening in the remote sessions. It's phenomenal. I would say sometimes even more deep and profound than when people were coming to me personally. And I have a very big practice. I mean, it's international. So the fact of the matter is that we're going deeper into what is my purpose? Why am I here? What really makes me happy? I mean, I can't leave the house, so I can't get stimulated by going to a restaurant or meeting my friends. Maybe I can call them, but it's not quite the same thing. My children are home and they're driving me nuts with homeschooling. So how do I meditate and get myself balanced there? And I'm not sure of my future in terms of my career. But then what we do is we work it, and then, oh my God, people are starting to come up with all different ways of making money just through this pandemic. It's amazing. They're starting to do this thing online and selling that product online and disinfectants. And also they're figuring out ways, how can I teach what I know online, like yoga and exercise and really connecting with community. I know that I actually started a community, my Life Shift community. You can get it on Facebook, Global Meditation, and really starting to interact and talk about the miracles that are happening. In my book, I talk about it's life shift, let go and live your dream. Now, I was using the word life shift and shift 40 plus years ago. I would always say the shift. We have to shift, etc. The shift. And now Wayne Dyer, because he endorsed my book, Life Shift, came out with a film called The Shift. And I said, great title, Wayne. And he laughed. But now everybody's using shift, right? We have to shift. The wave is coming. We're shifting. Now, would you believe that the Aborigines already had, seen in the whole Akashic records in the universe that this whole thing in 2020 was going to happen? They predicted it. And way back when, about 28 years ago, I was working with a client of mine. And what happens is I get psychic impressions. And I said, don't over leverage yourself in 2020. And this is a client of mine that I've worked with for a long time. And she happens to be amazing with finances and all sorts of things on the stock market. An ace. And every single year would go in 2020. I'd keep seeing it, 2020. I didn't see the pandemic, but I kept on saying, don't over leverage yourself. And then I would tell everybody that was into the stock market, that was my clients, I got this for this client, but be careful of 2020. And sure enough, January came and my client said, I guess we're good. I said, yeah, I guess we're good. Well, let's see what happens. And whammo, 2020, the stock market crunched and everything else happened. Did I know that it was a pandemic? No. The Aborigines, however, did say that there was a wave that was coming. Now, they kind of thought maybe it was a tidal wave. But what it is a wave of fear and higher consciousness coming at the same time. So in order to transmute the fear, we are being challenged to move into higher consciousness. Thoughts are things. It's vibrational rates. Aborigines knew this. The Egyptians knew this. I studied concept therapy when I first came back from doing hair, because I went to audition for Jesus Christ Superstar, and I was used to being the star, right? I got on the stage and I sang I forgot what I sang, something from hair. And they said, next. And I went, didn't you look at my resume? I had the lead and blah, 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 blah. And they said, yeah, we saw that. And next. And then I was devastated because I was used to being in the spotlight. And then there was a girl that I talk about synchronicity happening in my life. She did her song, and then she called me because I was walking off the stage and I felt like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I'm back in America. I don't know anybody here. They don't even care that I had the lead in the Amsterdam production of Hair, blah, blah, blah. And then she said, you know what? I have a great singing teacher I want you to study with. And she does something called concept therapy. And it's about thoughts are things. And sure enough, I started studying with Gali and I got into concept therapy. That was, God, 40 plus years ago, right? Now they're talking about it. It's all over the place. Joe Dispenza, he's got groups, he's healing cancer. Because what you're finding out is where you focus your energy is what you create. And when they say we are creating our own reality, guess what? It's true. Now, it's concept, but we're here and I'm here and Mark is here to help you learn how to change your reality and how to vibrate up. So when things are really askew, and it's tremendous amount of chaos right now, but I know through doing a lot of primal therapy and light work and rebirthing, that when in the emotional body you're feeling the most chaos, that's when you make a breakthrough to clarity. Now, how many of you using spiritual principles that just in this particular 5 weeks where we've been like totally clunked in, who've been working on this path for a very long time, are realizing, wow, I need to vibrate up. Because when I get up in the morning, if I'm not hooked into a sense of gratitude and appreciation for who I am, all I'm doing is taking the news of everything that I heard from yesterday and I'm plopping it into myself right now. And that's my reality. That's where I'm coming from. Now, where can you go from there? Nowhere. In the beginning of this, I would watch Morning Joe and I would watch this and that. Now, I want the information and I allow myself 2 shows. Because if you notice, there's only 2 or 3 things that change every day. Otherwise, it's pretty much the same. So to obsess and have that frequency of the news and the death rate and all this other kind of stuff, it doesn't help us vibrate up to see a different reality. Because it's like the 100th monkey. Great story. All right, so there was monkeys on one island. They decided they were going to wash their food. None of the other monkeys ever washed their food. So they started dipping the food in the water and then eating it. And before you know it, that vibrational frequency went out. And all of a sudden, all the monkeys started washing their food. Well, that's the same thing that's happening here. When you're in uncertainty, if you start to buy into it's hopeless, I don't know what's going to happen, it's only going to be the worst possible scenario in your head. It's crazy because as human beings, if I ever take somebody into an emotional process, I go, is there a reason why you're going to the worst possible scenario? Well, because then I don't want to be disappointed. Well, guess what? You lock yourself from ever creating anything other than what you're believing at the moment. And then you know your brain is so smart. It wants to prove it's right. Yep. See, I told you. It's always going to be horrible for you. It's never going to work out for you because something happened in your childhood where you actually started to track that belief system in your brain. And that doesn't change. It's in your subconscious. Your body reflects your subconscious. And so it goes, all right, it's not changing. It must be real. And I'm going to get screwed once again. And that's what happens. And then your brain goes, see, I'm right. That's your life. Somebody else, they can have happiness. Somebody else can get a loan. Somebody else can change their career, but not you. You're going to be destroyed. And then you just build up that belief system. So that's why my work is called Life Shift, clear and then recreate, because you feel the feeling of the uncertainty. And then you go, all right, I'm going to embrace it because uncertainty doesn't mean disaster. Uncertainty means possibility. Uncertainty means I get to challenge my ability to be resilient. All right. And then you start to imagine, because you're moving into your imagination and your highest frequency, in the quantum field of unlimited potential, as Deepak would say. In my book, I call it the field of love. And then you start to imagine what it would be like to have all this wonderful financial support while you're trying to figure something out. And then let that vibrate in your body. And that's what creates the miracles. And that's what creates things happening according to that belief system. It's a frequency. It's a matching of energy. So when I was in my 20s and I was back in America and I had my rock band and we were playing at Trudy Heller's. Remember that one, Mark? Okay.
I actually won a dance contest there.
Well, there I was in my leather. All right. Janis Joplin size, you know. No, a style, not size. But anyway, I was on the train, you know, from Christopher Street on that station. I was going uptown. And I went, this is really interesting. There was a guy that was coming in and he was, asking for money. And he was so angry about the fact that he was homeless and he felt like he had all aches in his body and he couldn't really see well. And he had his cup and he was just banging that cup and going in everybody's face and he didn't get a penny, not a penny. Went to the next car and I went, woo. And in fact, everybody was like, you know. Then in comes Mr. Jolly, Mr. Happy. He can't see. He's singing, oh, when the saints come marching in. And he's making everybody happy, right? And so he takes out his cup. And how much does this man get? And in the 70s, $1 was a lot. People would give 50 cents, right? The dollars were flying because he was in happiness. He was in gratitude for the fact that he could be on the subway singing and people were going to give him money. And that's the law of magnetic attraction. That's what Abraham talks about. That's what all the metaphysical studies throughout time talk about. Law of resonance, magnetic attraction. That's what you need to understand. So you don't have time right now in the pandemic to play around with negative thoughts. You have to clear whatever happened in your childhood and say, that was then and this is now. Now there's all different people that do emotional release work. I do, remote sessions. I have a book called Life Shift, Let Go and Live Your Dream, which goes into that whole particular thing. But the most important thing for you is you understand that this is a situation where you need to practice. This is not a nice, fun story I'm telling you today. This is your chance that when this pandemic is over, you're on a higher spiritual level, and that's where you operate from. So you're moving into your super beingness, and your super beingness creates happiness. So it's not like, oh, when I make a lot of money, or when I get married, or when my children graduate, or when I get the big house. The biggest laugh that I have seen in my practice is people come in and they're having a problem in their relationship and they go, all we need is a house. And I go, really? That's what you think all you need? Let's deal with the issues. No, we'll deal with the issues, but as we're dealing with the issues, we need this house. And they go get the most fantastic, beautiful house, right? In the Hamptons, in Connecticut, wherever. And then they come back. Oh, we got the house and we're still not happy. We think it's children. That's what's missing, children. And I go, okay, let's work on children because I do a lot of fertility work. Maybe I know a little bit about fertility because I had my kids at 57 and they are now 15. And so I know about helping women get pregnant, which is one of my main joys in life, especially in their 40s and their late 30s, all right? Because that's where the challenges come. And some women have challenges in their 20s even. But the fact of the matter, as soon as they have children, excuse my French, the shit hits the fan because there's all sorts of pressure and stress. And if you don't have a strong foundation in your relationship and the relationship with yourself and your partner, and you haven't attracted that actual match vibrational rate, and you're trying to work out issues from your childhood, your, parents or whatever with this relationship, you've got the house, you've got the children, and the next thing is, can you help us get a divorce? So it's not the things that are going to make you happy when this whole thing is over and you have more freedom to create again. It's not the things that ever make you happy. But right now, we have the possibility and the challenge to come to a higher perspective of being the person that we want to be every day of your life. So if you wake up and you're breathing and you don't jump out of bed and grab the cup of coffee and go, look at the iPhone, and then look at your emails, and then you're right in the crazy again. Get yourself centered. Start with a feeling of gratitude and appreciation for yourself. Start with that one. I find that really difficult in my life I've worked on it to feel grateful for me. I can feel grateful for my circumstances, grateful for my children, but it took me a while to realize, hey, you know what? You rock it, girl. You can really do amazing things in your life, and you're doing them. That's what I want you to feel. It's like, what's that Groucho Marx joke? I'd never join a club that would have me.
Right. That accepted me, right?
Right? Because we just take it for granted. It's like, how many people write a book and they can't believe that they wrote that book? I have Life Shift, Let Go and Live Your Dream. And trust me, I remember every bit of writing that book because I wrote it right after the kids were born. They were right next to me in their little car seats. I wrote it in my studio, and I had 3 months to write it. And that's what I did. I wrote the whole Life Shift, Like Go and Live Your Dream, but I had a really good book proposal that I'd worked on for years so that I had the concepts in there. But the fact of the matter is the opportunity came to me. I took it, I jumped on it, because that's what I wanted to be able to express real difficult spiritual principles very simply. And boom, kids came, book deal came, and boom, I was in a whole different place because I dared to dream. So that's what I'm asking you to do. Even now, when you're thinking, what is going to happen to my life? Don't go there. Start creating a feeling of appreciation and gratitude for who you are. And then ask yourself in the morning, okay, I'm going to expect some miracles today. It could be, that book, When God Winks. It could be that somebody's nice to me, that somebody delivers this beautiful little gift to my door, with their mask and their gloves. I was sitting here because every Sunday I do a live broadcast at 11 o'clock on Facebook and Instagram. And this Sunday I'm talking about creating your future. But I was sitting last week or the week before, and I was going in my studio by myself, thinking about what my next talk was going to be. And I thought, I need a mask, because that's when everybody needs a mask. First, nobody should have a mask if they are not sick. Then all of a sudden, everybody should have a mask. Okay, I didn't have a mask. So I said, I need a mask. Well, all of a sudden, I get this text message from my neighbor. Her name is Jeannie, and she said, do you need a mask? I couldn't believe it. That's morphinogenic resonance. I said, oh my God, because I was in a higher spiritual place because I'm thinking about what I'm going to teach and how I'm going to live, right? She said, I will leave it on your door, because I said, yes, I do really need a mask. It's one of those good masks. Yes, it's one of those good masks. Great. I'll leave it on the door in a bag, and you can get it. There was my mask. I'm in my apartment, in my studio. In comes the mask. Well, that's uncertainty creating miracles, morphinogenic resonance, because I wasn't all bummed out by the fact that I didn't have a mask. I was just thinking, I really need a mask. Boom, in it came. So you can do the same thing. And then what you have to say is, wow, that was really amazing. Not take that for granted. Because when God winks, okay, you have to go, oh, thanks. Now, it might be the God of your understanding. It might be your special guardian angel. It could be a guide that always seems to come in and help you. It doesn't matter. It's from another dimension. When you're vibrating up and you're in love and you're feeling happy, things happen. Why do you think people want to be in love? Because it doesn't matter if you can't pay the bill. It doesn't matter what's going on in your life. You're in love. And your lover calls you up and says, how you doing, babe? And you say, oh, I'm fine. I'm great. How are you doing? Oh, I'm, blah, blah, blah. You feel like, wow, somebody sees me. I'm in love. They're in love with me. Everything's right in the world. That's why people really crave to be in love. But unfortunately, the only thing that we can count on is that things change. And sometimes that in love turns backwards and really is a challenge in terms of our sense of self-respect and rejection, and doesn't work out. And then we have to vibrate up and understand who we really are and not give our value over to a person because we feel rejected. So the Buddhists say, life is a double-edged sword. What gives you great love and passion will also bring sadness and, a real sense of tragedy and disappointment. And so their whole idea is non-attachment. But what I found, and that's why in my book I have dreams, desires, and destiny fulfilled, because you need the desire to create the dream that creates the destiny. And for me, that whole non-attachment Buddhist idea did not drive things happening for me. I did a tremendous amount of mindfulness and Tibetan meditation and Qigong meditation and you name it, meditation. And I really came to a point where for me, I needed a desire. I needed a desire to have my children. I would never have been able to have twins at 57 if I did not have the desire. And Deepak talks about it's important that desire drives you. Wayne was saying desire drives you, and I totally agree with that idea because for me that works. Now maybe for some of you out there it's better to have no attachment to anything and just be, and that's fine. But for me, in order to have my twins, and in order to, because I started at 49 and talk about needing resilience and possibility and believing. Why did I start at 49? Well, because my grandmother had my mom, who was the last of 13 in the Italian family, at 54. So I thought I had loads of time and what's the rush? So I learned all my work. I traveled around the world. I was in many fabulous situations. I learned so much about spiritual, development, studied with all the spiritual masters in the jungle and all that kind of stuff. It was really like, they called me the Indiana Jones of the soul. I was like, loved it. But then about 49, my friends kept on saying, aren't you going to have some children? Didn't you always talk about having children? And I said, yeah. And they said, well, don't you think you better get started? And I thought, yeah, they have a point. Okay. But it took me from 49 to 56 to actually get pregnant. So talk about uncertainty, talk about having to have resilience and believing. Because if I didn't at that particular time, this was like 16 years ago, it's like I was a whack job. So people said, you must be crazy. And I said, yeah, I am. So there it is. That's who I am. I am who I am. So the fact of the matter is I never allowed anybody to tell me I couldn't. If they said, what was your, percentage of getting pregnant at blah, blah, blah age? And I said, I don't want to hear it because I know I'm going to get pregnant and I know I'm going to have babies. And that's the whole thing about resilience. So every single time I had a miscarriage, it hit me. When my first in vitro didn't work because there were, things that just weren't biochemically correct, fibroids, had them out. Second one hit like that. If I, for one moment, went into the pandemic fear of, oh my God, it's not working. Why don't I just give up? Do you know how many people said, why don't you just give up? Doctor told me that once. They found out that I had too much mercury in my system because I was eating sushi, right? That was the way kept really thin and lean and mean and had cut abs and the whole deal. And I had high levels of mercury. High levels of mercury create miscarriages. And so I did the whole chelation. And so my FHS levels went way up and I didn't have a period anymore. And the doctor told me, why don't you just get real? Why don't you just let it go? Doctor, authority, all right, happened to be a friend of mine. And I went, I am getting real and I am going to keep going. And I called up my fertility doctor, Dr. Jane Miller. She's in New Jersey. And I said, I'm really bummed out, blah, 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 blah. And she said, Aleta, if you have a uterus, I'll get you pregnant.
Yes.
I was back on the wave again. Woohoo! Went out of that other doctor's office. Bye, honey. And off I went and I got pregnant. So this is the same idea with you. When you're in uncertainty, like, oh my God, what am I going to do for my livelihood, my next career, my whatever? Deep breath, let that go, and then imagine yourself. What are the other opportunities that you have? Who are the people you can connect with? What are your talents that maybe you never developed that you need to learn? And then just imagine what it would be like if you were already in a whole other level of career. What would it be like if you connected with your soulmate, somebody that was your vibrational match? Because during this whole time, you kept on moving out of negativity and moving into loving yourself with appreciation and gratitude. So you could bring in a partner that could see you that way. If a partner you're bringing in is withholding, then you're into struggling. You're into trying to prove yourself. And so when you bring that kind of partner in, you have to look at yourself and say, what am I not giving myself? Why do I feel like I have to take crumbs or prove that I'm the best person ever? Or, walk through rings of fire to prove my loyalty? Because that's what I feel I need to be able to have something I want. Well, wouldn't that be great? I have clients right now that are connecting online virtually and really getting to know that person virtually, not meeting them, just on a friendship level. And they're going deeper and deeper because we worked on vibrating them to their highest spiritual level and bringing in a vibrational match. That's not to say the person is perfect, because perfection does not exist. Maybe everybody's striving for excellence, but nobody's perfect. But what somebody told me at one point, my neuroses works very well with my partners and we get on great. So there are people that I've been with in my life, and I know you have too, where there's just an affinity. You can finish each other's sentences. You feel like you're home because they see you and you see them, because you're coming from the same vibrational rate.
I had a teacher that said, when your neuroses meets their neuroses, that's love.
There you go. What teacher was that, Mark?
Apollo.
All right. Because that's, maybe that came down the pike to me in this way. Yeah, right. It's really true. So the fact of the matter is you're using this time where you can't go, out for a date and a drink and a real meeting with the possibility of having a sexual encounter at some point. This is just really getting to know the person, but the person you need to know best is yourself. Because when you know yourself and you can appreciate yourself and have gratitude for yourself, you've got to attract a person that feels that way. And if for whatever reason that person comes in and they're a frog, and they're not reflecting your highest self, whether it's a male or a female, you say goodbye. You don't stay for months trying to prove that this is going to work. You don't bend yourself into a pretzel. You just say, you are who you are. If that person connects, great. And if that person doesn't, release. The faster you release something, you can say, I'm letting go of the lesser to get the greater. Because again, I don't want you to feel like you're losing out. You want to feel like if I can release my fear, I'm moving into something greater. Like my believing that I'm going to get through this and the finances are going to start coming in, and that a career is going to start to develop inside of me that I can monetize, and I feel really good about myself. And that if I don't have a relationship right now and I'm really longing for one, that I am going to now be able to connect to my vibrational match, because that woman or that man is looking for you as well. Newsflash, it's not only you that wants the relationship. You want to bring in somebody else that wants to connect, that they want a relationship as well. It's not just your desire. You want to match desires and neuroses so that you can, have fun. The best relationships I remember, and I've lived with, 5 different men in my life, they were really fun. They made me laugh. So if somebody comes into your life and you can have fun and they make you laugh and you make them laugh, then there's something that's really nice going on. And then you can not take things so seriously and not be on the nitty-gritty all the time. Now, also, I want to talk about solutions. When you're in uncertainty, let's just say, loan, we're not sure it's going to come through. Not sure if we're going to get unemployment, for whatever amount of money I need or whatever it is. Not sure people are going to love me anymore. Whatever that is that's really floating your boat at the moment that's negative. I want you to think, within every mess, there's a miracle. There's a spiritual solution. Wayne Dyer wrote the book, in every situation. So think of solutions. Solutions are the things that'll get you through. What are my solutions? And say your brain goes dead. I don't know, I can't figure this out, blah, 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 whatever. You say to your brain, it's a neuro-linguistics exercise, if I did know what to do, what would it be? You gave a command to the brain. Brain goes, call up, Anne, call up Harold, reach out here. And then all of a sudden things start moving. And then if you reach out to these people and then they say, I really can't help you, say, do you know anybody who can? Yeah, actually I do. Call blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. Because what people like to do is to help. They really do. Like, you like to help. What's the best thing that you could feel at times? Somebody needs your help and you can give it to them and make their life different. Well, open up to receive, because in this pandemic, you don't have time to say, oh, it's really hard for me to open up to receive. Oh no, I'd rather give. I don't want to be controlled. I know they're going to be expecting something from me if they give me something. Get over it. You don't have time. Like, it was in the moon story with Cher. She went, get over it. To Danny, I go, get over it. You got to get over it. You have to receive.
Snap out of it.
Right, snap out of it. That's what she did. And I directed Danny Aiello in championship season at one point. He was really a great guy. It was so fun watching him in that movie. And Cher is only 1 year older than I am. So it was really cool. I love that. But snap out of it. You got to snap out of it. If somebody comes in with something great that you need, that you've asked for, it's here. What's that story? Somebody's drowning, right? The boat's going down. They're drowning. They're asking God, please send a boat. And then there's the helicopter that comes over and they're waiting for the boat. And then somebody comes in on a raft. No, they're waiting for the boat. And then finally they drowned. So they go up to heaven and they say, God, I've been so devotional to you and I was asking for the boat. And God said, I sent the helicopter, I sent the raft, I sent the mermaid. You just didn't take it because your head was fixed on the boat. So this is possibility thinking. This is when God winks. You have to let it go and receive. Now, receiving is your whole left side. That's your feminine. That's the yin and yang. We have the right side that's our masculine and the left side that's our feminine. All right. Most of us are givers. All right. We give, we give, we give. And in my book, I call it alpha burnout. Like if I have to give one more thing, I am going to slit my throat and I am going to bite your head off. That's when you're burnt out. All right. Because you haven't allowed yourself to receive. And it's never 50-50. You can't look at somebody, I just gave you this, now you have to give me that back. The universe doesn't work that way. But what you want to do is you put in your order about what you need into your field of love or your quantum field, and then you open up to receiving it happening. And your mind doesn't go into doubt, like, oh, I don't know if that's really going to happen. And if it happens, you release the doubt. Release, cancel, I believe. Boom. Then your brain goes, okay, we have to believe this. And you hook into what you want. And then it starts coming to you. I can't tell you how many times synchronicity is starting to happen. Just before the broadcast, I said, oh gosh, I have to take Crystal out. I have a Labradoodle. Oh, the Labradoodle story. Crystal came from a dog, that's her uncle, that had the biggest heart I ever saw. I was going into the D&D building and there was this gentleman who had fabrics on the 16th floor and this amazing Hudson dog. And I looked at, oh my God. And I said, that dog. And he said, oh, I've sold so many of these dogs from the breeder. Come up to the 16th floor. Did I need a dog at that time? No. Come up to the 16th floor and I'll give you the flyer. So I got the chair that I wanted. I went up to the 16th floor. Hudson I fell in love with. And 2 days later, in comes Crystal. Only because I received, it was like the same exact amount that I needed to pay for Crystal, who that was a thoroughbred up in Maine, was the same amount of money that came into my mailbox so I could do that. It was like one like this. And so then I knew, wow, that was meant to be. So
Well, they say coincidence is God acting anonymously, yeah?
Right. So the thing is this, that's like, it's already in the field. It's already in the Akashic records. It's already in that feeling of 2020, watch out, don't over leverage yourself. It's there. And then you want to take it. So Crystal, I'm walking her out, let me give her a walk. And in she pops into Muffin. So Muffin's been her absolute favorite dog. She hasn't seen Muffin for 6 weeks. Muffin's been in quarantine. And this is the first day Muffin comes out for a walk. And Crystal and Muffin just have like a love fest. Didn't expect it. Just was walking down the blocks, give myself some fresh air, connect in with the universe, have the dog be happy, and in comes Muffin. All right, so that was what do they call it in the Jewish religion, a mitzvah for Crystal. But those are the things that happen when you're not expecting them. So in this insecurity and uncertainty, I want you to see it as a gift because you don't have to stay in it. You don't have to get locked in it. You want to shift up because look, there's no such thing as when this pandemic is over, we're going to be different. But you know what? We might go through another one. You have to live from your highest self. You have to become the person you want to become. We're not playing around anymore. The wave that the Aborigines were speaking about is a wave of higher consciousness that's coming in. We can either get on that wave and get on that boat or sink. And so I'm challenging you today because I believe in you like I believe in myself, and I need you to believe in you, that there are tools out there that you can use that can get you on that high flying disc in that field of unlimited potential where you feel the feeling sometimes of whatever, uncertainty and fear, and then transform it into faith, transform it into resilience and believing. Just believe that it's working out, that God's got my back, that the universe is there to protect me and to nurture who I am and the reason why I came here. If you have a passion, the reason why I'm 72 and people said to me, oh God, you can't have children. What's going to happen with the seed, right?
When's
And
your
I said, guess what? I'm 72 now. It's not over. It's
When is your birthday?
November 12th. Triple
Oh,
square.
you're a baby. Mine's February 2nd. You're a baby.
Yeah, but you're Aquarius, of
I'm
course.
72 also, but you're a baby.
But you know what? It's like, this is 72. I'm not
Right.
going to be decrepit because I don't believe I will be. And
You know,
that,
as we were saying that we create a reality. Now, our nervous system can't tell the difference between an actual experience and a vividly imagined one. So what you imagine be true, that's how your system responds and reacts to it.
totally.
Yeah.
And so that's the whole thing. That's the imagination. That's creating, you know, as an actress in art or singing or whatever. It's your imagination. You become that person. So then you
Aleta,
live in that reality. Yes.
I'm going to bring on my next person soon.
Okay.
But people can reach you at Aleta St.James.com.
That's the web. No, that's the what email.
That's your email.
And then they can find me on Facebook.
And on Facebook.
Yeah. And then Instagram at Aleta_St.James. And every Sunday I do a broadcast at 11 o'clock where I'm talking about these principles. And then I do a healing transfer where I'm sending that energy, healing energy through my body and my DNA, through my hand. And people have had amazing healings during those broadcasts.
Now, do you do anything on Skype, etc.?
Yeah, I do
For private
remote
sessions?
sessions. I do on Facebook, on Skype, yeah, on Zoom, whatever, because that's where my whole practice is now. In
Right.
fact, I'm going to do a whole big thing for IVF Babel, for a big platform, a fertility platform in England, and it's all Zoom.
Okay, hold up the book again.
Oh, where's the book? Where is this Life Shift book? Quick, 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 quick. Here it is. La la. Shunk.
Life Shift by Aleta St.James.
James. And Wayne Dyer endorsed it. All right.
Look
Okay.
out. Well,
Thank
thank you,
so
Dawn. It
much,
was good
Mark.
seeing
I
you.
really had a good time.
It was good seeing you. How's your brother doing?
He's doing great. He's
Good.
taking care of the homeless. He's dealing with, you know, crime and wherever. And he does the television and he does his radio on WABC.
Right.
That's Curtis Lewa of the
Yeah.
Guardian Angels. That's my bro.
That's a bro.
That's my
Okay,
bro.
darling, I love you.
Love
Thank
you too,
you.
Mark. Mwah. Love you too, everyone. Bye.
Bye. So what I'm going to do is bring on a really good brother of mine, and his name is Maji. And Maji is right now, he is in Costa Rica, and he has a message for us. Bring it on, Maji. How are you?
Hello, beautiful beings of light. Welcome to this beautiful universe here. This is Earth Rose Farm. I'm going to swing around and show you the trees. And this is my flower power. And here's my